Hey guys, it is not how you begin, it's how you end. And you can end your year strong. And today I'm so excited to have a friend of mine, someone who I believe is the voice of the 21st century. We knew Whitney Houston as the voice, but in the kingdom, we have someone who I consider the voice, Miss Darlene McCoy. And you know, I have to do the jingle Darlene, 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 Darlene McCoy. It's the nightly spirit.
Yeah, that's right. Hi.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, welcome. Today, it's is one of those days that I believe is going to be a day where people are going to have a midweek miracle.
oh,
Um, and we're smack in the middle of the week,
that's right.
and people need to exhale and then inhale something that's inspirational. And so I couldn't think of a better person to help people through hump day
That's
than
right.
you. Than
That's right.
you.
Now, thank
Welcome.
you
Y-
so much. What an introduction, Dr. Trimm.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. A
I'm
lot of
happy.
people know you from Nightly Spirit, and you're one of the ones that I listen to where people said that radio is dead. It actually is not. It's still alive. A lot of us tune in on radio because of you.
Thank you.
What you
Thank
bring to the table is so fantastic. You bring joy, you bring inspiration, and you bring joy, you bring inspiration, you bring so much life. And you're one of the people, one of the Christians that I know that live life to its fullest. You bring so much joy when you show up, and you are recently married.
Yes, I am. I'm recently married, so I am Darlene Jackson, Miss Jackson, if you're holy.
Come on.
That's
Hey,
right.
Miss
So,
Jackson.
hey, Dr. Trim. Hey, we're having a hard time figuring out how do I present myself? Is it Darlene McCoy Jackson? Do I just do Darlene Jackson? Because he is like, you are Jackson now.
Yes. Well, my husband was a little more open because,
Yeah,
Cindy Trimm, and if I showed up as Cindy Tomlinson, no one would know who I am. And I know that I'm married to him. He's such an incredible human being,
yes, he is.
and a real blessing to me because he has capacity for me.
Yeah,
My husband is like
yeah.
a cool stream,
Yes, he
and I'm
is.
pure fire.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so when you put fire and water together, you know what you get?
That's
Steam.
right. You get steam. That's
Yeah.
right. I can
And
relate. I can relate.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So what's it like being married?
It is very, very different than being single and dating. It is very
Mhm.
different because, one thing about being single, and even, he and I dated for 5 years before we married. But one thing about being married is um, everything is to be considered in
Yeah.
each other's lives, our careers, then our children, and then our
Mhm.
grandchildren, and then our
Mhm.
parents. We're all one. So that dynamic is major to get your hands around, and just to blend our ideologies, our ways and everything together. It's massive to us. However, it is the best thing that could have happened to me in my life at this time.
I agree. I agree. one of my greatest lessons, because I lived most of my life single,
Yes.
and so I had that single paradigm.
Yes.
But one of the greatest lessons that I learned that I am not at the center of anyone's universe. I'm only at the center of mine.
That's right.
And to understand that when it comes to marriage,
Yeah.
that my husband is not responsible for making me happy.
That's
I'm
right.
responsible for bringing my happiness to the table,
Yeah.
and to be able to give him permission to be him, and
That's
he
right.
give me permission to be me, keeping our rhythm that
Hmm.
makes for a beautiful dance.
Yes. And
Yeah,
that makes so much sense. I think that um a lot of people feel like once you get married, you have to blend everything to make it one, making it, hard, but
yeah,
um my husband and I are very different people.
yeah,
To some people would be surprised that they're even together, but the things that we are and have in common together is what makes marriage work when you bring it
yeah,
together. So I he has no problem leaving me as the individual I am, and I have no problem supporting him in the individual in the as the individual he is, because that's what makes us, what we are, and we
yeah,
love it. Yeah.
yeah. And as you know, it's like the sun and the moon. The Bible said that God made two great lights.
That's right.
The greater was the sun, the lesser was the moon. What made them greater and lesser was not their essence, but their assignment.
That part,
You
the
know?
assignment. And
Yeah,
then
and
understand that there is an assignment as an entity together. You
yeah,
know, we have our individual assignments, but then as an entity together, we also have an assignment. And we feel
yeah,
like that assignment starts, with our family,
hmm,
and then it goes into the community.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's
I,
great.
I I think, having this kind of discussion is so important to be able to tease it out, because both of us are women of color, and
That's
we married men of color. And
that's
I
right.
think in our community, what we need to see is a healthy expression of Black love.
Absolutely.
And prayerfully, God could use the two of us to really express that, because both of us
Yes.
are public figures,
Mhm.
and we're influencers, and we're
Mhm.
strong Black women, but
That's
we
right.
married strong Black men. We
That's
married men that can accommodate that. And a lot of times people make it seem as if you're a strong Black woman, you're not going to be able to get married because
exactly.
you're going to be a threat to the Black male.
Yeah,
And that is absolutely not true.
it is not true at
It's the
all.
furthest statement from truth.
That's
I
exactly
think when you approach a marriage as a whole person, a full person, a
that's
fully
it.
grown person, like when I got married, I told my husband that, you get a full woman, a total woman, fully
Right.
assembled, batteries included, with
That
no
part.
baggage. I
That
have
part.
absolutely no baggage. I do have a cosmetic case full of my makeup, but no overnight case and no baggage. I carry no baggage. So
That's
I
it.
know who I am, and it makes it easier when you marry later at age because you don't
Yes.
need to be cultivated. You've
That
already
part.
cultivated your gifts, you've cultivated your greatness. You know who you are, you know your destiny. And
That's
those
it.
of you that are listening, you're tuning in. I'm talking to my friend Darlene McCoy-Jackson, and hyphenated. And we're here really just as friends, giving you an opportunity to eavesdrop on our conversation,
Absolutely.
as it relates to End Your Year Strong. But I couldn't resist the opportunity to talk about marriage because I'm still a newly wed. I'm almost 5 years into.
I really think you're gonna remain a newlywed forever.
Yeah, yeah.
We That's that. I think that's the goal for us too. We're gonna be newlyweds forever. I told him, I said, because we got married when I turned 50, and we
Ah,
yes, we got married when I turned 50, and I said, if we make 50 years, I'll be 100.
come on, come on. So listen, when I'm around my friends and they're like, "Oh yeah, we've been married 40 years, 36 years, 50 years," and
Yes.
they say, "Well, how long have you been married?" And I say, "Well, going on to 5." I don't want to exactly say 4, but going on to 5. But, the years leading up to my marriage were
Mhm.
incredible years. I didn't feel lonely or empty.
There you
because I
go.
was involved in purpose and fulfilling my assignment and giving back. I think my greatest challenge in marriage was to understand that I had to leave and cleave. So I
Yeah.
still considered, my siblings, my
Yeah.
family. I still
Yeah.
consider them my immediate family, but I had
Right.
to understand, hey, they were extended family. And my
Right.
immediate family was just me and my husband because that's the only two that was in the house. And then
Yeah.
I had to have this paradigm shift. And I think
Yeah.
for with a lot of women, especially, if you're older or more mature, or if this is your second go round in
Mm-hmm.
marriage, your second rodeo, to remember if it's just you and your husband in that house,
Yes.
then that's your immediate family and everyone else is extended family.
Mm-hmm.
And you have
Hmm.
to have a different vision for that.
That's
So that
exactly.
was like, that was another aha. Hold on one minute. I'm close to my
Yes.
siblings. I never had children of my own, but
Hmm.
now, we do have children, 4 children.
Yes.
And I was like, look, I grew up with a lot of family. They can come when they want. The grandchildren can stay as long as they want. And my husband was like, my husband is so gentle and he's got swag. So he was really gentle. And it was that look that gave me the revelation like, oh, yes, these are extended family. And it's
Yeah.
actually just you and I
Yeah.
here in the immediate family, and
Right.
I can't have a vision for the immediate family that
Yeah.
includes the extended family. I have to have a vision for the extended family.
Yes. That and that could be a challenge if you're not on the same page with what it is that you're doing. I bet first of all, I bet you are the coolest mom.
Yeah,
But
listen, they could do whatever they want. They're never wrong.
I bet they love you. And that
Absolutely never wrong. You, God answers prayer
yes.
in an unusual way. I always wanted to have children.
Yeah.
And I reached a point in my life where I decided, okay, I'm maturing now. I'm thinking about bankrolling my retirement. And
Yeah.
if I have children, they're going to be taking from my retirement money.
They're gonna take all of
Um, so I
it.
decided, okay, when I do get married, I personally am not going to have any children. But check this out. My husband came with a package deal. So I get 4 children.
Yes.
They're
Yeah.
beautiful. They
Yes,
look
they
like a combination of
of the
me and him. They
they
look
do.
like a combination of he and I. And
Yeah.
so God is so good. I did
Yeah.
become a mother after 21 because I'm 21 years old.
Of
But I did
course.
become a mother and they're the best. They're the best. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better family. And
Yeah.
so this Christmas, the Tomlinson side, we do Thanksgiving together, and the Trim side, we do Christmas together. And
Beautiful.
this Christmas is going to be fantastic because we're going to do a Christmas ball.
I love that. That
Mhm.
sounds like a lot of fun.
And you're invited, you and
Oh,
your husband.
we are gonna be right there, and I can't wait. We have, my husband's family. They are so dope. When I say I've married into a very energetic family.
Mhm.
He has a sister who's a comedian, another one who
Mm,
is a boss lady, and
mm.
then his dad. So they all live up north, but his dad lives near us, and his dad is a riot. When I tell you he is the life of the party, he rides a motorcycle. He talks all of the smack. He's got all of the swag. He's very handsome. He's just a great guy. He's from the islands. He's from the Cayman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's came in and he's just very into people. He loves people. So I married into an incredible family. And then of course my kids are all grown and gone. All of our kids are grown and gone and on their own. And we just enjoy having a great time with them. His mother just retired, a retired nurse, and we're going to go and celebrate her this weekend. But I'm just really excited. God really, really, really gave me what I needed. Um,
I'm
you know,
excited for you. I'm excited for you. For those that, for the women that are listening, and even for some of the men, that are listening, what advice would you give those that went through a first divorce
Yes.
or was in a long-term relationship and that relationship ended? What
Hmm.
advice can you give them for number one, healing,
Yeah.
number two, singlehood, and
Hmm.
number three, dating? Those are three: healing, singlehood, and dating. What
Oh,
advice would you give them? Because you went through it all.
yes, I did. I totally went through that. And what I learned from that is healing. Number one is the most important thing that you can do. One thing that's hard to do when you get out of a long term relationship, I was married for 18 years before.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get out of a situation like that, you have to realize who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and belong to yourself. And it went, if it ended, that means that there is some healing that needs to take place. There is some reprogramming of your mindset of who you are. You've got to see yourself the way God sees you. And until you do, take some time to,
Mm-hmm.
for radical self-care.
Mm-hmm.
And then singlehood. I wrote this in my book, that it was a journey going from the big house to I decided I could have stayed in my house on the golf course with the bedrooms, the basement, and all that, but it was only me and my youngest son. So I made a decision to live like a single mom in two bedrooms. I moved into northern Buckhead, Brookhaven area, and said, okay, I'm no longer that lady in the big house with the kids and the husband. I am a single woman. I reduced my king size bed to a queen size bed because
Mm-hmm.
and that was an ordeal for me, because it's like this was the bed I've always had as an adult, and it's like, no, no, you're a queen, and let's have some conversation.
Love it.
Have some conversation about God, about what cannot be in your queen size bed. It's fit only for a queen, and enjoy this moment. Stop telling yourself no on things that you're single now. You can go and fly and do this, and if you want to, without anybody's permission. You could go anywhere you want and enjoy yourself, until you are complete in understanding authentically who you are now. And then
Mm-hmm.
once you understand who you are now, and during that process, you may go and date here and there to see, what is it do I like? Oh God, I don't like that. And I'm okay, I get it. I'm not doing that. You want to get yourself to a place where you're genuinely, authentically you,
Mm-hmm.
and a healed you, a you
Mm-hmm.
that can handle the fact that, okay, yes, I have kids who still have their father, and I'm not going to bad talk their father, because he's a great man, he's a wonderful dad, and I support my children's relationship with their father. And that part, you got to get the respect, you know what I'm saying, for who you're becoming,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes the father or the spouse needs to understand, I am not who I used to be. You can't talk to me that way, but
Yes,
you know what
yes.
I mean? You get into that place. And then, I suggest in singlehood, you have friends. And when I
Mm-hmm.
say friends of both sexes, men and women, that when you have those times, oh, I'm just lonely, that you don't find yourself lonely and needing somebody. Maybe you
Mm-hmm.
just need to hang out with your friends, go to dinner and go have a good time. I spent a lot of time doing that. And you know, if the Lord sends you somebody, be in a place where you can recognize that this is the season and the time that somebody can be welcomed and fulfilled in my life.
Mm. I
You
love it. Look, you gave some sound bites. Number one, belong to yourself.
absolutely.
Because you shared yourself with someone. It's
Yes,
the challenge of belonging to yourself, and that's where what self-care is going to bring you. Number
that's it.
two, queen size your life.
That part.
I
Yes.
love it. Reinvent yourself. Reinvent yourself. And then
Hmm.
when you date, bring authenticity to the table.
That's
Be the
exactly.
authentic you. Know
This
where you and someone else begins.
that's
You
exactly
know,
right.
I
That's
love that. I love that.
yes.
Well, guys, you're listening to Mrs. Jackson, formerly known as Darlene McCoy, and I still call her Darlene McCoy. Will
Yes, it
probably
sounds
call you Darlene McCoy for the rest of
it's
your life.
that's gonna
But I'm going
be
to add the Jackson.
that's
But
so
she is the personality behind the Nightly Spirit. If you are listening to us for the first time, being introduced to her, and if it is, I want to know what rock you are under because she's everywhere. Her voice is everywhere. She's known for her laughter, her beautiful laughter, and we get to see her live and in Technicolor today, but she's going to be with us at And Your Year Strong. It's not how you begin the year, it's how you end your year. And those of you that are coasting into the end of 2022, you're doing the wrong thing. You
that's
need
right.
to shift your life into gear. And one of the things I recognize, Darlene, is a lot of people have a lot of odds that are stacked up against them. They're going through a lot, they're trying to
Mhm,
navigate the new normal. And end your year strong is where we are going to be dealing with those issues, what you should expect in 2023, straight to 2030. We are bringing the prophets, the apostles.
mhm.
We are bringing Todd Delaney, who's going to do a concert, something
Woo!
that is uplifting.
Yeah.
And there's a whole host of other people. And those of you that are looking for something to do with that will empower you to end your year strong, to start your year even stronger. I want to invite you to be with us the 16th and 17th of December. There's still time to register at
Mhm,
endyouryearstrong.com. And one of the amazing features that we're going to have is an afternoon luncheon. And it's the Emerging Leaders Luncheon. We're going to all talk about the emergence, what we can expect in industry, what we can expect, how to prepare yourself. And just to give you a little soundbite, I was writing out a couple of notes. But one
mhm,
of the things is this emergent generation, and this
mhm.
is just a teaser, is going to be a pioneering generation.
Absolutely.
And those of you that are creatives and
That's right.
in innovation, those of you that are artists, songwriters,
Mhm,
you're going to literally see believers pioneering,
that's
um,
right.
uh, going ahead. You have pioneers and you have
Mhm.
settlers,
Yes.
and you
S
need both.
yes.
Because if
Mm,
you pioneer an area and you don't have settlers, it
mhm,
means that it leaves room for the enemy to repossess
mhm.
territory
That's
that
right.
could have been occupied by
Wow.
us.
Wow.
And so there are people literally that are assigned to
Mhm,
pave a path to your
yes.
next.
Mhm.
They're assigned to be pioneers
That's right.
so that you can get into your next. And we're going to
That's
be unpacking so much revelation in this End Your Year Strong. It's
yes.
entitled Emergence, the Rise of the Next Generation.
That's it.
And what does it look like? What does it feel like? And Miss Darlene Jackson is going to be with us. Tell
I
them
am
why
going
they
to be
should
there.
come to End Your Year Strong.
Listen, I am so excited to be a part. I've come to In Your Year Strong for several years. It's one of the most impactful times, in my life, because I feel like this is when you get the opportunity to look back at the year that you're coming out of, and then you can just count all of the things that you've gathered. You get an
Mhm,
opportunity to look into into the next year and look
mhm,
at what you've gathered, and you'll see how to take it into the next year. That's the way that I have seen it.
mhm,
And it's I have grown up year after year through In Your Year Strong. The reason I'm excited about what you're doing, and the rise of the next generation, you said it. There are so many pioneers, and then we have settlers. We definitely have to know where we stand. If you
mhm.
are a pioneer and if you are a settler, because there should not be, just a lot of friction, between pioneers and settlers when you understand who one another are. You'll know how to support one another. The community, the faith community will know how to support one another. Because when I speak, I will speak as a pioneer. There have been things that the Lord has settled, in my mind, that in certain seasons we're just too far out. This is just way too far. I can't
Mhm.
go there. But being equipped to go to the next place, I believe that we are supposed to, as pioneers, go all the way to the edge so that we
Mhm.
understand that those that are coming behind us are trying to find the way that we're paving for them to go next. We're
Mhm.
evolving. We're going from faith to faith, to glory, and we continue to evolve as leaders in the kingdom. And if we're going to lead, we're going to have to lead into places that in uncharted territory that we have never seen, and we can't be afraid to do it. We can't be afraid.
Yeah. So, talking about pioneering, the church has always been an instrument to pioneer.
That's
You have the prophetic, which is
yeah.
predictive in nature, but is
Hmm.
one thing to prophesy, but is yet another thing to engineer. So,
Yes.
how can the church posture themselves to take advantage of this new normal? Because it means that, God said, Behold, I'm going to do a new thing.
That's
How
it.
can we take advantage of this new normal?
Well, one of the things that we have to do is we've got to stop being afraid of the prophets. We
Mm,
have to stop being afraid of the fivefold ministry. Sometimes we're operating, just from one or two, areas, but we've got to identify those prophets who really have the word of the Lord, the apostles who really have the message of the Lord. We really need the entire fivefold ministry to help, and we have to embrace, who it is that they have, because what God is speaking to his prophets is the same thing with all of them. He's speaking the
yeah.
same thing to the apostles. He's speaking the same thing with all of them. We just have to identify truth and move forward. Um, and that is going to mean that we're gonna have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable with some things. We're gonna have to let go of some of the things that we feel like has just been, because as a pioneer, you see things that we hold on to, and it's like, can you just let this go so that we can go to the next level? We have to be faithful. We have to
Mm,
be faithful to what God is calling us to do, and understand that yes, it's you, and that he's
mm,
sending out here to do this thing,
yeah.
whatever this is. There's so much, because I feel like that we have been called to occupy and lead culture. And
Yes.
for so long, we've been behind culture, hiding
Mm,
under culture, but
mm-hmm,
we actually lead culture. And
mm-hmm.
we need to be comfortable in that position and continue
Yeah.
to lead, and not be surprised at the culture leaders who are actually admiring you and looking
Mm,
for the way.
hmm. It's
Yes.
interesting that you should say that because I think you're a pioneering force in the space that you occupy. You're in entertainment,
Yeah.
but you're also in the media space.
Yes.
So you're in both spaces.
Yeah.
What do you think, as a Christian, the greatest challenge for those that are in that space is and will be in the next few years?
Being responsible,
Hmm.
um, with timing, being responsible with what you say, leaving your feelings out of what you speak of, and staying connected with God, understanding who you are, and staying in that position, that you are respected on several sides, because a pioneer doesn't just lead one group of people. A pioneer
Mm,
leads several people, so you can't lean to the left, lean to the right, lean forward, or lean back. You've got to stand straight up and
mm,
continue to respect everyone that you're leading. And I think that's going to be a challenge, because
mhm,
we do get our feelings involved. We do have something to say about this and something to say about that. But if we stay centered where Christ
mhm.
is, if we stay centered, we can bring forth a lot of resolution and a lot of solutions, to the ones that we're leading. but it's
I
a
love what you're saying. If I could probably rephrase what you're saying, it's my
yes,
understanding that you're saying, okay, you've got to be true to your Christian values. You
that
don't
part.
have to compromise in this space
Don't
as
have
a
to.
leader because you're influencing not just those that are of faith, but
That's right.
those that are of different faiths and
That
different beliefs and non-believers,
that's right.
and they're looking to you
Mm-hmm.
as a standard bearer. They're not
That part.
asking you to compromise in order to be in that space. They
Right.
need you
They
because
do.
I always say, if God can keep a Christian, then God knows they can He can save a sinner,
That's
because
right.
the sinners are looking towards us
Mm-hmm.
as proof
That's
that
right.
this thing really does work.
That's right. That's
And
right.
I've been, I spent the first part of my life
Mm-hmm.
in corporate and in government. That's the first
Yes.
part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of climbing up the corporate ladder, I
Mm-hmm.
never I never had to compromise my Christian values.
Mm-mm.
Everyone knew that I was a Christian. I had to go to cocktail parties
Mm-hmm.
where there was smoking and drinking, but it was never an issue of me compromising.
Right.
And so, I was young then, and people used to ask me, "Are you afraid of backsliding?"
Mm.
I said, "I'm not afraid of backsliding. They need to be afraid of me
That part.
changing the environment."
That right
And so, my drink of choice was Perrier and Rose's Lime. That was my
there.
drink. And before I left politics, half
Mm-hmm.
of my colleagues were
Mm-hmm.
drinking Perry and Rose's lime. And the question they always said, well, Jesus turned water into wine.
Yeah.
And, what's wrong with a little drink? I can't see why I would go to hell because of drinking. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, look, it's not an issue of sin for me, because in explaining to them what sin is just missing the mark. It
Mm-hmm.
means you have a strategy
Mm-hmm.
that will not give you what you want out of life. That's all sin is.
Mm-hmm.
So you're
Mm-hmm.
always going to miss the mark.
Mm-hmm.
So I said to them, I don't drink for very practical biological reasons. And
Mm-hmm.
here's why I don't drink. Every time I drink, I destroy cells in my brain. And
Mm-hmm.
this is medically and biologically proven. I destroy cells in my brain. And I
Mm-hmm.
used to say, I could tell you've had a drink too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you never think straight. You don't think
Right.
straight when we're in debate. You're not thinking straight now.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, you know what? I never thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, they would come by with their Perrier and Roses
Mm-hmm.
line to be able to say, you know what? I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
destroy another cell in my
There you
brain.
go.
And I
There you
never had to go. We never had these huge conversations about heaven and hell. It
Mm-hmm.
was just me and my conviction. And this is the power of being an influencer. You are lights in this world. City set
Absolutely.
on a hill, and a light shines as brightest in darkness. And those
Mm-hmm.
of you that plan to attend and you're strong, we're going to talk to you about how to succeed in
That's
the
right.
marketplace, wherever
That's right.
God has planted you. You
That's
could
it.
thrive there, you could succeed there, and we're going to be giving you the tools. And if you have not registered for End Your Year Strong, I want you to go right now, End Your Year Strong, and register, especially those that are in the marketplace. And I want to really encourage each one of you. This earth belongs to God, it doesn't belong to the devil. The earth
Amen.
is the Lord, the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein. And if God plants you in a field, you
Mm-hmm.
should not be afraid to thrive there, succeed there, and
Mm-hmm.
rise there, and
Yeah.
to dominate in the field that God has planted you. We need your wisdom and your insight.
For sure.
Darlene McCoy. So, two more questions. What do you feel God is up to with the emerging generation, the emerging in terms of leadership, ministry, with this emerging generation?
I believe that what God that God believes in us
That's
more than
good.
we believe in ourselves. And I believe that God has um, planted answers. inside of so many people. He has planted answers for the
Mhm.
music industry. He has planted
Mm.
answers for the entertainment industry, for, and of course, this is where I come from, so this is where I'll be. I believe that there will be a convergence
Mm.
of people that we will lead. There have been so many that have been hungry for God for so long, and asking so many questions about who God is for so long. And there's a generation that has broken themselves away from religion, and they've really gotten into kingdom. And
Mhm.
I really feel like God is up to something big, to place his name at the forefront of everything that we do,
Mm.
from media to science to education,
Mhm.
um
Mhm.
all the way around. So I really feel like we're going to hear this clarion call,
Mhm.
the call of God. Even in technology, we're going to see some changes, and it's going to, the forefront will be the pioneers that God has chosen.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think those of you that are listening, my role in the kingdom is just to give articulation to what
Yeah,
you feel and sense on the inside.
absolutely.
To be able to say to believers, you're not crazy. That's God. It's the
Yes.
God whispers. And
You are
your
so that
purpose,
person. Oh my God, yes.
yeah,
Thank
and
you.
your purpose
Thank
is
you.
downloaded in your DNA.
Yes.
And the Holy Spirit uploads it into
Yes.
your mind as a desire, as a prophetic prompting,
Mhm.
as an image in your mind, as a vision, a dream, something you want to do. You may not have full articulation. I remember living in abject poverty at the age of 12, and my guidance counselor asked me, well, Cindy, what do you want to do when you grow up? I said, I really don't know. All I know is I need a lot of secretaries to do it.
Wow.
And back in the day, to have a secretary was a big deal. But now I have a CFO and a COO, and more than I have a lot of people around me with skills and ability
Yeah.
to do what I'm called to do. And I think helping the next generation is what my greatest assignment is, to bow low so that they could stand on my shoulders, and
Wow.
preferably all the shoulders that I stood on, I would help to steady it so that they can have a steady foundation and they can rise,
Mhm.
because I'm one of the ones that are called to serve them and to be there for them and to equip them and to give them articulation and to say, go, Tiger, go.
Yes.
Um, that's my role that I play in the kingdom. So, those of you that are tuning in, I've been talking with Miss Darlene Jackson, formerly Miss Darlene McCoy. You probably hear her on the Nightly Spirit,
Mhm.
and we want you to be able to tune in. She's got some great things that are going on. She's a recording artist. In the back of her, you'll see a platinum. Do you
That's
see
right.
that?
Choo, choo,
And this
choo.
is her platinum plaque.
Mhm.
And she's going to be making an announcement. I think that we should make the announcement. And then
Okay.
also, as you make the announcement, tell them how they can connect with you.
Okay. Well, I am making an announcement that I am releasing a single for Christmas called "And This Christmas." And no, it's not the one you think it is. It's called "And This Christmas." I wrote this song about, what Christmas looks like for me and my new husband. And, a lot of times, we always think about the kids and we think about the gifts and whatnot, but what about the fact that we don't have any? What about the fact that we're empty nesters? And it's just us on Christmas Eve. So, and this Christmas is coming out on Black Friday, so you can download it at that time. And if you would like to follow me, I am still at Darlene McCoy on Instagram and on Twitter, because they won't change my name. Because
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
blue
yeah.
check, they won't change my name. So I'm still working on that. But you could also go to iamdarlene.com to keep up with what I'm doing, and also to get my new book and all that good stuff. My book is called "And Then She Turned 50." And
Mm.
I just signed a major publishing deal, so I'll have 3 more books coming out. So, yeah, just keep up with me.
Woohoo! Well, next year, we are gonna dominate social media, and I would love to have you on once again so we
Oh,
could talk
please do.
some
Please.
girl talk and
Mhm.
publishing talk and whatever else you're up to. It's been a pleasure. Those of you that have not signed up for End Your Year Strong, we still have time. Make sure that as you're signing up, you probably won't be able to get preferred seating, but we do have the special luncheon, the Leaders Luncheon. Make sure, in addition to signing up for End Your Year Strong, you sign up for the Emerging Leading Luncheon. It's been a pleasure to have you guys. It is Wednesday, hump day, and I am praying over you that God will give you a midweek miracle. Those of you that are standing in faith, believing for healing, for deliverance, for your children coming from out of prison, for deliverance from addiction, for housing, for rent, for mortgage, for promotions, for business, customers and clients, for that book deal, whatever you are believing the Lord for. My prayer is that God would drop your name in the ears of the person that has the assignment to alter your destiny, whether it's your boss or your supervisor, whether it's a publisher, whoever it is. I decree, whether it's even a judge, I decree and declare that your destiny helpers are coming. And today is a good day for your midweek miracle. Thank you so much for doing life with me in real time. I pray blessings over you, and may this year end strong for you and your family. God bless you. Bye for now.
He's talking about getting you ahead of the curve and you being like a Noah. The Bible says, as in the days of Noah, so shall it be at the coming of the Lord. They were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage until the flood came. What does that mean? Hebrews said that Noah moved by fear. Means that word fear doesn't mean he was shaking in his boots. It simply means he tapped into the mind of God and what God downloaded to him as technology. That word is translated awesome. He was saying, this is awesome. I don't know what an ark is. I don't know what gopher wood is, but I'm in. Sign me up for the Christian Jubilee.
Enemies you see today, you will see no more. And I'm not just talking about the people, I'm talking about the enemy of poverty. I'm talking about the enemy of cancer. I'm talking about the enemy of diabetes. Whatever enemy that is in your life right now, slap your neighbor and say, God's about to reverse the order. You better get ready to be on top because you'll never be on bottom again. You better be ready to get rich because you'll never be broke again. You better get ready to be happy because you'll never have another sad day in your life. The devil might try to bring you down, but no weapon formed against you shall be able to prosper. Slap 3 people and say, reverse the order, reverse the order, reverse the order.
He saw you and he plucked you out of eternity and he positioned you in time and he gave you gifts and talents for the purpose of serving your generation. And he said, I'm going to plant you in this house because I've got a mantle and I've got an anointing on this house. And we have so many issues on the earth today. There is so much chaos and so much crisis and so much division and so much disunity and so much pain and so much heartache and so much injustice and so much suffering. And it is easy to get overwhelmed by it all. But I need to tell you, the issue and the problems, they're not political problems and they're not moral problems necessarily, and they're not education issues and they're not social issues. It's a faith issue. We've got too many unbelieving believers. We need some believers that say, I will carry the baton of faith for my generation.
I'm encouraging you to hold the vision tenaciously, regardless of what you're going through, regardless of the challenges and setbacks that you're experiencing. I want you to write this affirmation down. If you're going to go through some tough times, think it not strange that you'll face the fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might, you will have tribulations. Write this down. No matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. That's what I have to affirm. No matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it.
In the church, we have begun to see an expansion like we have never seen before, where I believe that this is a moment in time where the Lord is now calling and causing leaders, voices that you have never heard, to begin to rise up all over the world. And then there are those that have been hidden in the cave, like David in the cave of Adullam, where he had been there for many years, but there came a point of emergence in his life where the Lord said, now is the time.